first, Elena Bonfiglioli. Is this correct? Bonfiglioli. I will call her Elena to make it easier. She's Senior Director, Health Industry EMEA at Microsoft, and she is based in Brussels. Right. Then we have Aurelia Tackacks. She is Global Diversity Partner Manager at Cisco Systems, American, based in Brussels since 10 years, something, yeah. All right. And finally, we have Michèle Paques, Managing Director at Quintiles, Benelux, and also winner of the Women Work at Work Award of this year. Congratulations, Michèle. Absolutely, I think it deserves an applause. Well, we've just heard about the importance of success also in the long run. Let me just give you some water as well, ladies. Microphone? Yes, check the microphones.
I've got some. Hello? Yeah. Hello? We're here.
Michèle.
Hello? 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 Thank you for the applause.
Is Michèle loud enough?
Yeah. Hello? Yes, I think
Yes?
so. Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. Let me sit. Right, ladies, we have another about 50 minutes to talk. Sit comfortably. Well, we have a couple of questions we prepared for you, and if you do have questions for either these three ladies and or Kathleen, please write them down, and we will have some time at the end. We can, depending on your motivation to stay, I know it's lunchtime afterwards, but we can take a couple of minutes of the lunchtime to continue these questions. The first question I would like to raise is, how do you define success and what does success mean to you? And I'd like to start first with Aurelia.
Right, so, we tend to think of success in the traditional aspects of power, money, and climbing that corporate ladder. But I think as more and more women are taking the seats at the table, we're really working on redefining and broadening the definition of success. So for me personally, it's about feeling and being significant, both in my personal and professional life. It's not necessarily about finding work-life balance, which we touched on, but I think more around finding work-life blend or integration, if you will. More and more our personal and work life is blending. And so for me personally, success is really about finding that right blend with work, personal passion, giving back to the community that makes me feel happy and significant at the end of the day.
And giving back is absolutely also something that Kathleen said and is absolutely valuable. Elena?
Yes, I would say leaving a legacy and making an impact is something that is very important. And I would look at successful people, those that are able to leave footprints that others will remember. It also goes very much beyond the business card. And I look at it in two other ways. First of all, I think there is no one single definition of success across life. It varies across time. And 10, 15 years ago, I was looking at success very differently, and I'm sure that in 10 years, I'll look at it in all other way. I love the button. I always looked at it as a prism, where there is myself, everything around, family, friends, and so on, the organization and the society. So our ability to balance that is a good criteria for success.
Absolutely, and it also links with what Kathleen said about authenticity.
Yes.
Absolutely. Michèle?
Success for me means that we have to be aligned with ourselves. So meaning that the mindset and the rest of the body has to be really aligned. But it's a story, like you said, with the button, indeed, of a couple of things. And for me, success means, and certainly with the company I'm driving here, is to live better together. So by these three words, it means that together, this is really by enjoying to be diverse and to be different, better, because we all want to achieve something in life, and it will be indeed better if we are moving with much more creation and innovation. And life, because this is about life, because we are here, because we are living. So if we can join these three words all together, I think that we are making success.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I was a little bit surprised back at Lene's insights, and the 10% that the gender, well, actually, the fact that being a man is only 10%. It can make a big difference, we agree. Absolutely, that's why I was a little surprised. I was wondering, when you think about obstacles of success in your career, is a woman's path to success different than to a man's? My personal experience shows yes, but how was it for you ladies? How different was it? And I would like to start with Elena. What was your key in your pathway to success, and in what way was it different from a typically male career?
First of all, I would like to differentiate between male-female on the one side, we can take it that way, or we can look at masculine and feminine attributes of leadership. And sometimes you see women behaving like men, or male that are much more feminine in their being inclusive, having what we would define normally feminine traits. So I think we shouldn't stereotype. Nevertheless, it is true that because maybe we have a broader definition of success, we want to manage many more spheres successfully. So we need to be very good at work, we need to be very good in the house, we need to be very good with the kids, and so on and so forth. So that, when you weight it as an average, brings you a little bit down in terms of how high performing you can be in the fast track at work. Now, that could be a way. For me, I was actually very lucky, and particularly in Microsoft, I had men that were betting on my success. They were really not in the sense that they made really a bet in terms of this is a person that has a talent, even if all my capabilities were not proven. They took that step. So I never really felt that that competition with a man. For me, we're all equal, and at the end, it's about our capabilities, our talents, and our ability to be a resilient leader, to be a leader that stands up for others, that is inclusive, and that is a giver in a way, and that at the end, I think, no matter if you are a man or a woman, makes you successful. So I feel in a straitjacket to look at men and women as opposites, actually.
Well, I'm sure that some other persons here in the room would have a similar experience than to yours, absolutely. Thank you. Michèle, obstacles in your career path, how would you define your success today?
All right, so obstacles, certainly. So I have had some. And but indeed, it has been about persistence and to see what the goal is. What do I want to achieve in my life? And it has been really the goal and the we can do it attitude. And in my office, I know that the people of the company know perfectly that I've got a poster with we can do it attitude. And it has been like a challenge, and the challenge has to be the example for the rest of the women. And I took it like this. I stopped my career when I had 2 children because the pressure was so high that I had to stop. But I decided to do it by own. So it has been really my own decision. And afterward I came back and I grew up again and again. And I felt really that the barriers that we see in the career are coming from ourselves much more than from the other one. So when the goal is clear, when you've got the needed resilience to go ahead, and when you've got the right mentor and mentorship, could be in the family, but even externally with the company, or even friends, it helps. Hugely, it helps. And that's the reason why I'm so proud to be the ambassador of this year, because I would like to help each of the women, of the men, who would like to progress on a much more equality world, where everybody will find a place to develop the talent.
And what I find absolutely extraordinary in your career path is this example that stopping for children, for whatever reason, and coming back is not necessarily an obstacle. It is just a moment that can bring you still to become a successful managing director. So congratulations for that, absolutely. Now, Aurelia, coming to you. Obstacles, your career path. What would you like to share?
I would have to say I tend to obviously agree with both Hèlene and Michèle. Obstacles, no matter what we say that, masculine and feminine, in the end there are obvious, differences. And one obviously is being, having children and raising a family, right? And I think as a woman it was very difficult for me, especially for both maternity leaves, to sort of let go, and to let someone else, hand over those responsibilities to someone else. And then obviously when you come back, because often we define ourselves as our work, sometimes who we are is our work. So that was a very difficult challenge, but then also coming back and finding that integration and blend and rhythm again was a challenge. Sorry, and then as well ourselves. I think we sometimes undervalue ourselves, and I think that we need to take more risks and be more bold and brave in our careers. To ask for that raise or that promotion, to apply for the job that we may not be 100% qualified for, but taking that step forward, or putting ourselves at the table for new opportunities or projects. So those are some of the two, I'd say, obstacles or challenges that I've seen in my career.
I have a thought on what she just said, because I'm about to actually go on leave. So in 5 weeks, I'll hand over my business for the maternity leave to someone else. And so I thought just recently about that, and it is indeed, putting some churn in your stomach, and I felt into myself a conflict, saying, I have all these things that I would like to do, and the milestones are actually when I'm not there. And then I felt like, and so what? Let's prepare the best ground possible so that when I am gone, actually, these things are done flawless. These people can manage it easy. And then, the beauty of feeling that gives you a situation of strength. So the more you put it out there that you want others to be successful, that you want the best for the team, and that you are, and lay it out, not hide it, saying, hey, this is what I've been working on to make sure that in these months things go fine. And that gives me really a sense of contributing to something broader, and I think we need to take it that way and be explicit. Without being fearful.
And it is also the link with Kathleen with what you said about giving.
Yes.
Right? You give the possibility to your team also to become successful. There is no worse thing than thinking that you're indispensable.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely. Now, to coming back of what you said also, I heard also that the biggest obstacle between the lines, the biggest obstacle in our career is ourselves, or might be ourselves. Right? Perfectionism, not to be ready, while others would easily say, yes, I'll take that promotion and I'll see how I handle it afterwards. First thinking, am I really completely competent for this role? Michèle, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, absolutely, because most of the time, and certainly now when we have to promote people, because we are promoting even, so I'm quite proud to say that half of the promotions are made by and through females, which is really good. But most of the time the reaction of the female is much more, I'm not sure I can do it, are you sure that I would be the right person to do it, are you sure? And the male are much more confident in themselves, which is good. So I think that most of the time what we see with my colleagues managing some companies, that sometimes they are making some promotion, and probably it's part of the answer of what we are seeing in terms of percentage, and we'll come back to with all these percentages. There are much more men on the top because they are claiming that they are the right person to do it. Yeah. They are self-promoting. And the women have much more the back status. And what I would like to add is that the promotions are coming much more on performance for the woman and much more on potential for the man. So this is something that I see even with my colleague CEO. He's got potential, he will be the right. She did it twice, 10 times, she could be the right.
Absolutely. It's really important. Performance for the woman, potential for the man. Hopefully it will change. I'm sure in some companies it's not the case. Let's hope so. Well, yes, and actually this is a perfect link to the next question, which is really about performance. The link with performance, success, and also well-being and balance. So how can you achieve performance and success to not being to the detriment of well-being and balance? And how can you see the link between both? And I would like you also to give maybe some concrete examples within your companies. What is the link between performance and well-being? How can you measure it? What is being done? And I'd like to start with Michèle.
All right, thank you. First, a few figures. So in university, we've got about 60% of female, right? Then if you are taking an average, the highest, this is about 50%, so female and male. That's good. Then you are going up, and so we are going to the management level, 35% female, and then you are going to the top, you are reaching 25% for the executive, and finally 15% for the board, and 3% for CEOs. What's going on? So as managing director, I'm in charge of the rentability, profitability of the organization, and it means that by doing that, we need to find the right talent, and it means that on the table we are leaving a lot of talent here if we are only moving with one part of these silos. So why should we go and continue in this direction? So in terms of well-being, I think that because it was a question, and the performance, if the company is going for performance, the company has to have a focus of a well-balanced, female and male and diversity company. And this is through this diversity that the performance will come even, because we all know that now, if we want to make a difference for competitive market, because it's about external market and competitive market, we have on top to see how the customer are buying, and they are buying by 85%. The buy is down by the female. So we have to adapt the model for much more performance within one company. And finally, to come to the well-being, it will be really a well-being for the female and the man, because they will all have advantages and benefit of these new rules. It means that when the woman will be even on the same level at the CEO level, they will grow up to the CEO level, it will be well balanced, much more, the equilibrium of the balance will come even between men and female, but even the task with the family, because the men with the host of the homework will help much more, the children will help much more, and they will all understand this is 50%, and that we are all to go in this direction.
Aurelia, what do you think of this?
So specific to, I think, employees' well-being and success, I think more and more companies are realizing that a happy employee brings positive results, brings increased productivity, and whatnot. And I'm very fortunate to work for a company that gets that, I would say. At Cisco we have multiple activities that they really make it part of their mission to ensure the employees' well-being and health. So different examples, we want to talk about concretely that we run are certain, when it comes to well-being and health, we have health weeks that we run, sponsoring different sports activities and events as well. When it comes to corporate social responsibility, we do a lot of giving back to the community as well, working with amazing organizations and NGOs to volunteer both for yourself and for the company as well. We really encourage like-minded professionals and networks to join together and support each other via our employee resource groups as well. So those are very successful for people to feel part of a family, to have something in common as well. Then whether it comes to even professional counseling during difficult periods of life. So it's clear that more and more companies, I think, need to consider this and these sort of activities, because it's really beneficial, I would say, to the employees and ultimately to the business as well.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Yeah, well, I'd love to hear from Elena, because health is really your thing at Microsoft, right?
Yeah, so you're right. Yes, I manage our health industry business, which is interesting, actually, yes. Well, we know that there is no way you can be high performer if you're not healthy, but healthy in the sense also of how your wellness, your energy, your ability to contribute.
Definitely in the long run.
In the long run, as I said, I mean, it's a marathon. So what is striking is when we train some of our high potentials actually at Microsoft, as part of a training, they show a quadrant of the areas of your life in which you have to perform. And part of that is your emotional well-being. Part of that is your physical well-being, is your social well-being, your intellectual well-being. And as the bottom, if over a long time any of that is not in balance, you're not healthy, you're not well, and therefore what happens to your brain? Your brain moves to survival mode. That means you're very focused, bit of tunnel vision, get the thing done, leave me alone. A different idea, just shut up. You go like that. You're not able to nurture, to embrace, to cope with diversity, to cope with complexity, to be creative. And that has been proven in leadership studies, and we tell our leaders, female, male, it doesn't matter. We train at Microsoft our leaders to be sure that you invest in a balanced way for yourself. And therefore, I see it, people are not shy at Microsoft to put in their calendar that is 1 hour for running at lunchtime. We actually have groups. We go running together. My boss puts swimming. He knows that I do meditation, and sometimes when, he sees me a little bit on the edge, he says, you may want to take some time and, be true to yourself. I've been, practicing yoga for now 25 years, and people know that's who I am, and that's part of my being authentic and true to myself. That's part of my resilience. So for today, modern styles of leadership, particularly as we live in network organizations, in a network society, and with a lot of diversity, if we are not able to manage the self in a holistic way, it's very difficult for us to have an holistic leadership. I truly believe that.
Absolutely. I fully share your thoughts. If now we come back to the balance work-life, of course you both are in a technology company where the technology helps also, where you can work from home, where you have the devices, which actually can also be a challenge because it means that you are always connected, so you probably also need to find some balance there. But working like that, in this flexible way of working, means that you also need trust, that this trust needs to be built, between the managers and those working within the team. And it means also that you need a complete, new, at least, definite mentality shift, meaning that you are going to evaluate your staff by objectives and not by the hours they sit on the chairs. Mm-hmm. And I don't know whether this is linked to Belgium, but I do know many companies where this is still a huge, huge challenge. So what have you done for this? Well, how do you make sure that your managers are able to lead with this trust? Michèle?
It starts indeed with goals, but it starts even with leadership, as mentioned just before. This is a common vision. We want to really start with the start, and alignment. So if the management team is aligned to say, well, indeed, we are responsible here, not only for the business, but even for the people, and the business will come from the people, through well-being and so on, to be authentic, because I do believe that this is the way we have to go. When you've got this alignment, this is in terms of leadership that you have to drive and to let the people go in this direction. Being customer-focused and people-focused, being indeed business acumen, but with a well-balance between people and business. To come back to the goals, we have to define the goals as from the start of the story and say, well, what will we do all together to reach those goals? And then this is delegation. And let's do the people. Let's come with inspirational things, and they will come with a lot of ideas. Then you have just to, together, really together, to see which of these ideas are the best one to move in the direction we decide. And then this is a question of process and connection indeed. But I would like just to add with the connection that indeed we are really in the connected world, and much more now than before, and even probably it will move to a next generation where connected people will be the way to be. What we believe at Quintiles is that the connection is the future, is today and tomorrow, but it will be a success only if we are keeping the human touch. And this is through the human touch, connected with the connections and connected things, that we will make the things happen in terms of profitability and well-being, both. So that's part of the goals of the management team, and so with the actions behind.
Right, thank you. Now, what changes are needed to allow this new world of work? Because it is a completely new way of working together that will be needed. And although it has already started, there is still a long way to go. What are you doing within your organization to bring about this change? Elena, what are you doing?
So, first of all, it's interesting because at Microsoft we really call it, we have an initiative, we call it like that, both for ourselves and for our customers as well, the new world of work. Yeah, it is called like that, okay. Yes. So if you go and bring new world of work at Microsoft, it's actually a way of looking at the future of the way in which we do perform our work and we succeed. Now, imagine that basically anytime, anywhere, independently of where you are physically, you can connect with others, with the right people. Is it technology, of course, helps? Is it through teleconference, video conference? But also, is it through the social and the digital workspace, which now we are so used to, that allows the learning organization, allows knowledge to be shared seamlessly, without having to be in the same room and then, sending you an email 5 minutes later. We have a place where we can all go, and we know that the information is there for us as a team. That means we trust as well that knowledge can be easily diffused. So it gives a lot of flexibility, particularly to women. You can do a conference call on your way from the school to work. You don't have to be there just because it is 8:30 and you're supposed to be there. You dropped off your kids. You are prepared for your meeting. You have shared the document in advance. You know what it is about and so on. Well, you can be in your car, right? And that allows, commuting and flexibility and there is trust, but that also means that there is accountability, not for activities, but accountability for impact, right? These are the outcomes that you set yourself up to achieve. Now, if you have been inefficient and you have done 100 things, or if you're being very efficient and manage your time well and you've done 20 things that are the right things, I will manage your outcomes. And so we have set in place new performance systems, for example, at Microsoft, and there are two things I want to call out there. Number one, it is the fact that to be successful, you also have to contribute to the success of others.
If you can measure it, it's fantastic.
Yes, and you measure it also through the feedback of others, and you measure through tangible things. But that means that the takers, they will, sooner or later. So that's one. And the second thing is really we have systems of performance and evaluation that go to connect moments. These are moments in which you look back, you look forward, you look at your agreed accountabilities and outcomes, and you reflect on it. It creates a culture of self-accountability and self-reflection. Instead of end of journey evaluation of, well, nothing else is possible, okay, well, what do I do with it next year? So all these type of things allow, I think, a new culture of work, a new way of working.
Fabulous. Aurelia, what are you doing at Cisco?
So similar to these points, as you mentioned, I mean, technology is definitely an enabler, I would say, for these changes. Recently, last year, actually, at Cisco, we had the Office of Inclusion and Diversity, and we met with our top partners and customers, and we realized that diversity is part of inclusion. So it's in there. So, and what we realize is that leveraging technology is going to be very important when it comes to driving business value across internally at the customers, etc. So we've actually changed the office to include inclusion and collaboration. So it's really taking inclusion, technology, and collaboration, so that the whole inclusive and diverse environment is really stemmed in all aspects of the business. And I think that's very important because we're seeing now more of the ties between a CIO, CTO, and a CDO, for example, a Chief Diversity Officer too. So looking at how we can leverage, I think the technology, similar to the points that we've heard, is key, and we're doing an excellent job in there too.
And also, what I hear is also very important is that all these initiatives should be taken also from the top. You have to lead by example. You have to be absolutely convinced by what you're asking your staff. You need to walk your talk, right? Michèle, we don't really know each other, but I've heard a couple of things about you, and I've heard that within your organization, you are really, as a MD, you are the change of Quintiles, Benelux. That's what I've been told.
Oh, thank you for that. No, I think that I'm not the change of Quintiles. I'm much more the driver of the change. And the people who are making the change are here in the room, so which are the management team and even the people working for Quintiles.
Well, you need a driver, so that's already
all right,
fantastic.
but it's not a question of one person. It's a question of a team, really.
Yes.
So alone you will not reach anything. It's impossible in this connected people, a connected world. It's impossible to reach the goals and performance and outcome alone. Don't try it, you will fail. So this is, and reinforcement. I would like to pick up on the reward. If you are driving something, you have indeed to start with a story. I said a story where everybody will find his own way. So let's once more take all the diversity as a strength and not a weaknesses. So everybody is different, every female is different, every male is different. That's good. Take it as really a strength. Build on these strengths and differences, because it's all the colors we need to succeed, because the consumer outside are the same that we are. So let's just be different, that's good, but with the same vision of performance and authenticity. And then celebrate the success, please. So if you are, with the team, reaching something which is such important for you, because indeed this is what we said we should do, and you realize this with the team, celebrate. Say then simply, thank you. Thank you. You did it, we did it. Wow. Oof. Say, wow, thank you. That's brilliant. We've got so many barriers, so many negativism, so many things coming back. But we have to push back by positivism, and this is the strength of the people. And it's something we've got here. Just let it come. It's come, I mean, almost naturally. And it helps usually the organization to move.
Well, you're already moving me to the next question, which is about tips for success and well-being, and one of them is definitely to celebrate the success. Absolutely. What are the tips, Michèle, would you like to share with the audience before we move to the questions? Practical tips about really, the tips for success and well-being.
The tip, I would say, go for it. In a short slogan, but much more than that, stop to think that you are a minority. You are man or woman, that's the same. Sometimes we say, okay, this is what I think, I'm not sure that's... And so I'm here as woman, as this is a minority, and so I should probably do this and that. Stop with that. You're not a minority, you're yourself. So go for yourself. Go for your own colors. Go for what you've got in mind and what you decide to do with your life, and it will be successful.
Fabulous. And again, as Kathleen said, gender is maximum 10%. So there is so many percent we can still have an influence on. Aurelia, what is your tip to success and well-being?
So I would say maybe some key takeaways would be, be bold, be brave, take risks when it comes to your career. Support, I would say, other women and support your peers as well. I think that's something that's very important we haven't really touched on, but I think it's key that we support each other and other diverse groups too. So like you said, it's not only women and men. There's other diversity groups as well that we need to support. And don't be afraid or hesitant to rely on your support network. Whether it's your family, your partner, your friends, your colleagues, both men and women, because I think in the end we're all in this together. So.
Great. Elena.
So, as I said, I see success in layers, so 3 tips in 3 different layers. On the layer of the self, the tip would be clear. Because if you don't know what you need, nobody else is going to help you. So, in my case, for example, I know that I need time for me and my family from this time to this time. Okay, make it clear to yourself, make it clear to your team, make agreements so that things can happen. If you think you've made it clear, but nobody knows, nobody's going to respect it. So that's really towards your own self. Towards the organization and the others around you, also in society, be part of their success. Nurture them and in a way make it feel that you're really concerned for their growth. That will give you enormous energy back, and that will also support you in times of need. So it's almost like harvesting,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And then the last one is with regards to the organization that you work for, to your employer. I think for me, you also have to choose where you go to work. And there's no way I could manage what I do today without an organization like Microsoft that allows me to do it the way in which I do it today.
Yeah.
So I'm conscious that if you take me, the same me, in another place with a very different system, I could fail or I could be very unhappy.
Yeah.
So there is a part of that that is also,
Absolutely.
choosing and then being the change in that organization, but the system influence.
Yeah, the culture within the company you work for, absolutely. Now, if I take here a look at some other points of Adriana Huffington, tips of success, she says, sleep more, disconnect and switch off your devices, something we all know but we not often do. Build meaningful relationships, what you said and also what Kathleen said in an authentic way. Often I hear in trainings that women do not enough network. And in Flemish we say network means niet werken. Well, no, it's not, Networking is part of the success. And here is some other thing that I find really, really important is do what you love rather than what the world will validate. And this is such an important message. I think it starts from there. Do what you love within an organization that fits with what you would like to, the way you'd like to work. That is absolutely so important. So we might need to change some habits. We might need to, shuffle a little bit here and there to make it completely corresponding to what we want. And first we need to define what we want. And of course, organizations and managers need to change as well. So Elena, Michèle, and Aurelia have shown us how they are paving the way in their organization to redefine success and empowerment for women. And by redefining success, we'll end up with leaders who are able to make better decisions. That is at least our hope. And we hope also that this will impact everybody. So thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you. I'll invite you to sit over here and put your microphone on. If you still have your microphone, you don't have your microphone, you will manage just to put it on your head. Shall we switch off the lights? You're right? Yeah? I have to see who has questions for these ladies. We have Nicole over there with a microphone, and Anaïs over there. We have a first question here. Anaïs.
I have a question for Elena. Since I work in a similar business technology, well, I heard also in the former workshop, and I hear it all the time, building a strategic vision. This is also what improves success. Give me a tip on how to do that, how to build it.
How to build it? Well, Kathleen gave us already a first input, which is, first of all, ask why. And I think we often move fast away from that. I also think that there is another, so I'm giving you components. So ask why would be one. Think longer term would be two. Challenge what would happen if me or my team or my organization would not do it. So challenge that, what if not? Because, sometimes we are, oh yeah, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. But maybe we need to do something completely different. So that challenging, and there is always someone sitting in the room when you have these type of discussions that may be saying nothing. That person needs to speak out. You have to be able to listen from everywhere and make sure, because these people have very critical insights sometimes that are super powerful. So listen in and get all the elements. And then I would say test it sooner rather than later with outsiders. Outsiders that could be even beyond your sector, different generation, anything, something that is very different, because you will revisit and enrich the vision. So I'm not saying how to do it, but these are things that I would pay attention to, and don't rush it.
Yeah. Great, thank you. Well, there. The microphone is coming.
Raise your hand, please. Thank you. Hello. My question is, so at the European level, you see a lot of talk about, potentially implementing quotas, especially for, to get more women on board, something that Italy has been very successful in recent years, and Norway as well. So, a lot of people are against quotas, but the argument, is you're gonna be much more efficient. You're gonna, make more money, reach more customers, et cetera, et cetera. So, and that's the way to convince, basically. So I was just wondering, does any of you have a different way of convincing? Like, besides the fact that numbers show that more diversity create more, efficiency, reach better goals, and so on. I was just wondering, even though that's important, are there other reasons why, work environments should be more diverse, especially on the gender, no, not especially, also on the gender level and every other level as well?
If I may repeat this one, of course. This is indeed really hard. It's a really good question. And this week I have at my global chief executive coming in Belgium, and I have had a discussion with him. He's American. He's leading US, Asia, and Europe for sure. And it has been the question we addressed him. So how should we convince you that it would be much more profitable for the company and for yourself to balance much more? And the answer he gave me was this one. Well, show me the vision, to come back to your question. Show me how it looks like for future. And give me your dream and your perspective. And he has to be really behind this dream and this perspective if you want to go with him. So it's about figures, because we've got more than enough data, more than enough really data showing that the productivity is increasing by 85%, 85%, when you are balancing differently and with much more diversity. So, I mean, such type of figures are so huge that they have to consider it, but much more than the figures. This is the belief. and this is harder. And so for the belief, he has really to have the vision. What do you want to achieve within 5 years? Tell me, what would be the picture of the company for yourself and for the company? And with the description, he is describing diversity and more innovation and more productivity. So we know that the women are coming with much more creativity and innovation, right? And collaborative work. So this is really the strength of the woman. And the strength of the man, as we saw and I hear this morning here, is much more the facts-based, Excel and so on. Okay, but we all know that we need this creativity part and collectivity part to move with all the data we've got now, to make value of it, extra value, added value. So I would recommend to go with this person to this new world and asking him of her of his vision.
Thank you. We still have time for 1 or 2 questions. Anyone? No one? Yes?
Hi, my name is Susanna. I'm coming from Tackacks Medical. And we talked about how important it is to feel good about what we do and how important it is when we start our work in the morning and not just the environment. And there was a lot of discussion about corporate programs to promote that. I also think it's very important. The manager plays a very important role.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us in this room have direct reports. We're working with people. And I have different examples along my professional career of managers who had different tips and ways of working with their reports and their teams to create that sense of, wow, I love to do what I'm doing. And there were some others who did not do that well. So I just wanted to get your perspective. Anybody who would like to share, what are the things you're doing and you're proud of to promote that sense of, I do fit in, I love doing what I'm working, or to spot the individual who is not being happy.
Mm-hmm. If I may start this one, whenever I meet people in the network, new people or whatever, people always come in, they're like, gosh, you're always so passionate about talking about Cisco. I mean, what is it there that you love it so much? And I think that's what it comes down to, that genuine love and drive and passion for what you do and how you impact others as well. And as a people manager as well, I think that we had to feed that to our teams as well and have them, create that same feeling of passion, of drive, and enjoyment of what they're doing. And I think, being flexible, creating that, I think, trust we talked about before, trust and confidence in your teams is very important. While at the same time holding them accountable as well was something that we talked about. So I think if people feel that it's really in you, I think that's the most genuine way, I think, to deliver that message of well-being and happiness.
Maybe can I make a couple of comments? What I've observed that has worked well in my organization is 2 things. We tend sometimes to reward individuals. Our ability to reward teams makes everybody flourish, but it really takes a shift of focus. Our ability to do an award session that identifies an attribute in everyone. If we take the whole room, we could give an award to everybody because we all have points of excellence. But if you sit there and you listen to that award ceremony, you start to say, oh, but look, there is our excellence there, and then you connect better. First of all, you recognize the individual, you recognize diversity, and then as a team, we would all go out knowing much better where to play on the strengths of others. And that lifts the energy. I've seen that happen in a fairly broad team, 20, 25 people. And I thought like, oh, we didn't realize that actually that there was so much that we could play with. So those things are small, but I think increase the intangible well-being and wellness of the organization.
All right. One more question. The lady over there. And then afterwards, you can come and individually maybe have a word with the speakers while others will rush on the buffet.
So I stay between you and the buffet. I'm going to ask my question quickly. For the ladies there, the question I have is, concerning the social pressure, what we hear as ladies is that we are expected to be everything, so not only the 4 buttons, even more, we think. The mother, the wife, the daughter, the everybody, nurturing, communal. I don't know if you had that pressure, and if you did, what was that you do or you did to overcome it?
Who wants to answer first?
Yeah, it's fine. Yes, I've also had that pressure. I think humor often works very well. For example, I remember the case, it was in the press a couple of months ago, a journalist who picked up her kid and then the teacher made a comment that she was late. I also had that a couple of times, and I always make humor. I said, oh, tell it to my husband as well if you want to. So, like saying, okay, this is a role that has to be taken care of, but it's not necessarily always you. It has to. So often people have this unawareness, this subtle bias that you should do this and this and this, but when you make it clear to them that it could perfectly be someone else who does it, then you can make them more aware of that. So humor to make people aware, in my case, has helped me quite a bit. For example, I also had a participant who thought that I was a coordinator, and he asked me to get him a coffee before I started, and I got him the coffee. And then I started, and he was like, oh gosh. So humor often makes people more aware, I think. I could have also gotten angry, but...
Fabulous. It's finished. It's time. It's 12:44 on that clock and 45 on my clock. So thank you very much. Please applause.